Welcome to a Beast Game podcast. Today, we are reviewing A Cure for Wellness. It's directed by Gore Verbinski. He has done The Pirates of the Caribbean and The Ring. It's written by Justin Haith and Gore Verbinski. Haith wrote Revolutionary Road and The Lone Ranger. It stars Dane DeHaan as Lockhart, Jason Isaacs as Volmer, and Mia Goth as Hannah. DeHaan has been in Chronicle and The Amazing Spider-Man. Isaacs has been in the OA and the Harry Potter series, Goth and The Survivalists. Summary. An ambitious young executive has been sent to retrieve his company's CEO from an idyllic but mysterious wellness center at a remote location in the Swiss Alps, but soon suspects that the spa's treatment are not what they seem. The summary pretty much says it all. So Barry, what are your overall thoughts on A Cure for Wellness?
I would say that the movie started off okay. It was creepy enough, but it couldn't hold the pace and eventually became boring.
Mm-hmm.
And that the best parts about this movie are the cinematography, the set design, and sound design.
Yes.
The sanitarium, which is the health center, the wellness center, is very atmospheric. It's very kind of pristine and clean, and then like dingy and dirty.
Exactly. The thing is, it's a kind of a cover-up. It looks so clean, but yet there's a deep, dark secret. You know there's more to it than what it is. It's too clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's too clean to the point that you know something's not right here. And I agree with you. The tone of this movie and the visual style, like I said, I like Gore Verbinski. I believe that he's a pretty good visual director. It was shot beautifully. He picks like the perfect lighting and everything, like the way he...
Yeah, like the whole set for that place is like a castle, but it's not necessarily a castle. It's the visuals of that look good. It's shot very well.
Right.
And the DOP, the cinematographer for that was Bohan Bizelli.
Mm-hmm.
Did Mr. and Mrs. Smith, The Ring. And,
yeah, because you know what? That's funny you mentioned that because when I was watching this, the first thing that came to my mind was The Ring. Because The Ring had that dark tone as well. But also The Ring was set in Washington, Seattle, Washington. And Seattle is known for having like constant rain and fog and all that. But it worked for this movie too. It was a good visual movie.
Well, the worst parts about this movie are the writing and the story progression.
Correct. I agree 100% with you.
There's elements that they could have left out, specifically about Lockhart's background. There was an angle with his father that didn't really need to be there in the grand scheme of everything.
Also, there were things that, like you said, that was very unnecessary, but there were things that I believe would be necessary that they did not explain at all. There were certain parts of this movie I was like, okay, well, how was this possible? How did this happen? And there was no explanation needed. Now, certain movies could get away with that, but they'll kind of lead you into the direction of what they want you to think. And you get to choose which path you want to go. They didn't lead you to any path. It basically caused more questions to me. Like after I left the movie, I had so many more questions that I was like, well, how was this possible? Why did this happen? I didn't get this. I didn't get that.
Because the movie takes two different approaches. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it takes two different approaches. Mm-hmm. So it tries to go for this more psychological thriller, and then it tries to go for this creepy angle. And it never really sits well on either one of those sides. You can't toe the line between it because it's not written well enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the visuals, the only other person that I really felt was good in the movie was Hannah.
Yes.
That's Mia Goth's character.
Yeah, she did a great job. And to be honest with you, I was very disappointed with Jason Isaacs because he's a pretty decent actor. I expected more from him. I mean, he didn't do a piss poor job, but...
It's average.
I just expected more. The tone of this movie actually made me give this movie a better score than probably what it deserved.
Okay, I'm not sure where you're going with that one because I had some issues with the tone of the movie because at first it's very serious and very creepy, and then it got cartoony. And when I say cartoony, I'm talking about Captain America, the First Avenger cartoony.
Oh, yeah, it did. And that goes back to what I said earlier. Like, how? Like, can you explain that?
It was just weird.
There's a big plot hole in this, a huge plot hole.
I agree.
If it wasn't for the way it was shot, this movie probably would have got a lower score than what I'm going to give it.
I mean, the set is awesome. I would like to just go there just to visit.
Right.
But the movie, the writing, the storyline just was dismal.
Because of the writing, the storyline, and all the other things that we mentioned, I believe that I may have missed something because I was just still trying to figure everything out. I mean, some of it was actually kind of predictable.
Well,
but I actually figured it out like way before we got to the ending. I mean, it was just certain things I was like, that doesn't make sense. But maybe it did make sense, and maybe I just missed it because I had like confused look on my face throughout the movie. But yeah, I was still somewhat intrigued.
Yeah, I wanted to know where it was going to go, but the middle of the movie starts to slow down, and I was just like, get to the point.
Right. This movie does remind me of other movies. It reminds me of Shutter Island somewhat.
Agreed.
And also reminds me of The Ninth Gate.
Well, for me, it reminds me of Shutter Island and Dream House.
With Daniel Craig?
Yeah.
Okay. But yes, Shutter Island.
Shutter Island is the best and closest analog to this movie.
Right. Shutter Island and Ninth Gate. Just certain parallels with The Ninth Gate. The movie could have been so much better.
And shorter.
I went to the movies probably about 11:30. We got out.
I got out at like 2:15.
Yeah, I got out about 2:15. This is pretty long. It could have cut off at least about a half an hour.
Yep.
Easily.
Because they revisit a lot of the same themes over and over again. And I'm like, get to the point. At least with Shutter Island, there was some balance between Leonardo DiCaprio's character, his sanity. And like this one, he knows something is not right. So there's a bigger mystery. But then he starts to see things and all this other stuff. And I'm like, he had an opportunity to leave twice.
And he kept coming back.
Yes. See, and accepted the situation. Sense. It is okay. I'm like, no, it is not okay. You know it's not right.
So, Barry, did you find the overall movie plot interesting? And like, what about the ending? Did you find that interesting as well?
No, I did not. And it seemed like the ending would be something out of a Dracula movie.
A Dracula movie?
Yes. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Now think about it. Yeah, I could see that. And the plot could have been so much better. Like I said, it reminded me of Ninth Gate. It really did. The ending of the Ninth Gate and the ending of this was somewhat not similar in plot, but similar in just how it looked. To me, this is a psychological thriller / mystery because you were still trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
That's exactly what the genre of this movie is. It's suspense thriller. It needs to mess with your mind in order for you to get it, but it doesn't do it well enough. So
yeah, it was basically trying to mind fuck. It did not do it well at all.
Yeah.
And then also, did you pick up that this movie was kind of like an allegory to like work?
Yeah. Being a workaholic.
Yeah. Will kill you, basically.
Yeah. Correct.
I was just like, okay, they're talking about work and how it could just drain you and how people are unhealthy with working so hard and all that. Okay, we get that.
Which makes sense in the grand scheme of things. The way that they're trying to push this movie is that the CEO is a workaholic and that he is so burnt out that he went to this retreat where all the affluent people go in order to get better. That makes sense. That is a separate movie from what this movie is.
If it would have stuck to that premise, it would have been a better movie. Stuck to that premise, but then they start getting a little bit deeper, getting a little bit...
Tries to be spooky, tries to be creepy, tries to be more psychological than what it should be.
It ventured off into what the fuck land. Because it just... I get the retreat, makes sense. But then all of a sudden it just turns, make a huge left. And I'm like, no. Now, what are some of your favorite psychological thrillers?
All right. This movie tries to mess with your mind. Better movies that can do that are Memento, and the next one is going to have the same actor. American Psycho, The Machinist, and Prestige. It's all Christian Bale.
Right. American Psycho is one of my favorite movies. American Psycho is definitely on the list of one of the best psychological thrillers made.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, I'm also going to say Old Boy, because that does kind of take a different turn as far as the movie's concerned, and not the Spike Lee remake. Sorry, Spike Lee. Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal, Black Swan, And also Ex Machina, even though it was a more sci-fi movie, it is still technically a psychological thriller. But what about you?
Well, shoot, you named virtually everything I was about to say. I like Memento. I actually like The Ninth Gate, and I know I'm probably alone on this. Maybe it's because I'm a fan of Johnny Depp, and I wasn't really into the story.
Or even like From Hell is also a psychological
From Hell was
thriller.
a great psychological thriller. I mean, this movie, it just lost itself in mid-movie. It just lost what did this movie want to be? So what is your score for this movie, Barry?
My score for this movie is a 5.5. The good things about this movie, the cinematography, the set design, the sound, the story doesn't support that good camera work, that good set design. And it's directed well, but a better writer could have made a better movie.
Right.
Even though Shutter Island was directed by Martin Scorsese, it is probably his worst movie.
His worst is someone's Oscar movie.
But Shutter Island is still a better movie.
Right, exactly.
I would give that maybe like a 6.5, but this gets a 5.5.
Okay, well, I give this movie a 6. And the reason why I give it a 6 is because of what you just mentioned. The direction, the way it was shot, the visuals, the sound, the tone. Because the tone was amazing. It made me feel uneasy. And usually when I say that it makes me feel uneasy, it's usually like it's kind of creeping me out a bit. I wasn't scared. No, I was not scared. But I felt that something was not right. And that's how you should do a movie, especially something like this. You want the viewer to feel like uneasy, like, something's unsettling about what's going on. That was done beautifully. If the writing had the same type of effort that they took with the whole, like how it was shot, directed, and all that, this would have been a way better movie. To me, I feel they may have gotten lazy with storytelling.
And the movie seemed like it ended twice.
I actually thought it did. It caught me off guard. It was funny because...
and if they had went with that ending, I would have been slightly okay with that.
Dude, I thought this movie was done. It was funny because I actually thought the movie was done. I was getting my stuff together, ready to get up. And my wife was like, the movie's not over. I sat down and just said, well played.
There's about another 30 minutes added on to that.
Right. They should have ended it on that note. It would have worked out better.
Yeah.
But when they added more to it, it just made the story even more confuddled than what it already was. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. That's been a Beast Game podcast. You can find more of our podcast at beastgame.com, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Twitter, and YouTube.